Welcome to the channel. This is Bruce the Boss, and oh my God, Kwame Brown is just torching everyone, lighting fires all across the world, in the sports world, whether it be aimed at Charlamagne the God, Stephen A. Smith, Jamil Hill, but I'll cover those in a later video. What I want to start with was the gem he dropped on Black America, which is very thought-provoking. So we'll get to that in a moment, but before we do, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you're new to the channel, as well as like this video, comment on this video, your interactions on this channel. And for those who are already subscribed, again, reminder, like the video, comment on this video. All of these interactions are going a long way with helping in the YouTube algorithm, especially in light of the fact that I believe YouTube is actively messing with my channel despite being relatively new and small. I've had current subscribers reach out to me in the comment section on some of my past videos within the past week and tell me that YouTube is not sending them notifications despite signing up for them. So there have been active attempts to shadow ban this channel and some of my videos, but your interactions, subscriptions, likes, and comments go a long way with combating big tech. So without further ado, let's get into the gem that Kwame Brown dropped. Let's go.
Motherfuckers crazy. Can't talk one policy. Can't say one thing. Hey, look here. I said a long time ago. I got people calling my phone all the time. I don't know how the hell all these people get my number, the Democratic registry and all this shit. Are you voting for Joe Biden? I said, well, what is his policy? He gonna let you know after the, you can go online. I went online. I saw the tax plan. I saw this. I saw that. I don't stand for Black America. What's going on? Oh, we gonna talk about. Oh no, I ain't. Till I hear the debate, I'll call you back. Like shit, I don't want to hear that shit. I'm not one of them scared Negroes. I'm me. Shit. Get on the line and try to talk all smart. Oh well, you know, I went to school and I would. Oh yeah, you did. You went to school and all that. Okay, yeah. You've been voting for the Democrats this whole time. So have I and everybody else. And what do we have to show for it? Well, you know, they're trying to combat racism. Well, why the fuck they ain't do it in 60 years then? Well, you know, we're still working on it. Man, I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear it. I'm up to here with all these excuses that people make. What they say? They won. I can't see this shit. I can't see that good. But anyway, I'm just so tired. You fake woke Negroes, man. Y'all are the worst thing to the black community. You fake woke niggas. Because you fake woke niggas won't allow independent thought. Because I don't care who you vote for. I ain't never cussed nobody out for voting for the Democratic Party. I ain't never called nobody a coon or a disrespectful name. None of that. You motherfuckers, you guys that do that, not all Democrats do that, but the guys who do that, y'all are the new version of the KKK. The white folks don't got to do nothing. Y'all are the new version of the KKK. Because you try to intimidate, you try to exile black folks, and you try to cancel them because they don't agree with you. And that's sad. You act like you're doing something righteous for doing that. The Democratic Party is our people. So you going to hurt another black man for the white people that you like? You a fool.
One of the things I love about that video is he's calling out Black America that generally votes 85 to 90% Democrat in almost every national election, and especially almost maybe 100% or 95% in most local elections, is show me policy. You have to give me more than the other side is a racist. What are you bringing to the table that's helping me and my community and or my group of people? Because I see you passing all of these bills for this group and that group, but neglecting the base that has consistently been putting you in office and or in positions of power for the last, 65, 70 years? I mean, take a look at your typical inner city black neighborhood that's completely run by Democrat politicians. Now, what you're seeing right now is a neighborhood in the late, great Elijah Cummings district. Not to speak ill of the dead, but somehow he was getting billions from Congress over the course of his tenure in Congress. And look at the neighborhoods in the community. Where's the money going? Broken down homes, broken down neighborhoods. School districts suck. I don't know if you heard the news recently, but it's just been reported that in the city of Baltimore, a high school senior found out that he not only needed to repeat several grades, but he had a GPA of 0.5. That's an F. Not even really a D, or barely a D, 0.5. And what's worse is that not only has he been pushed up all of these years, but he was in the middle of his class, not the bottom, the middle of his class. What does that say about the school district and the lack of education happening in these communities? This is what 60 years of voting blue no matter who without getting any policy gets us, unfortunately. It's not helping at all. You say the other side is evil, but what is the other side doing for your community other than neglect? And I would say it's reckless neglect, because you know what the situation is, and a lot of them should. They're turning a blind eye, not doing anything to fix it, to improve one's quality of life. It's just like, we'll come to your communities and say, we're going to do X, Y, and Z every 2 to 4 years, and we just keep voting, getting nothing in return. We put them first, they put us last consistently. So he makes a really good point in, what am I getting for this vote? Because just saying the other side is evil isn't helping me, because they're not the ones oppressing me. They're not the ones that are running down the communities, allowing the schools to the students not learn anything in a lot of these schools, not allowing communities and jobs to flourish. You look at a lot of these communities where the black population makes up more than 20% in cities like Baltimore, Philly, New York, Atlanta, Chicago, Detroit, Oakland. And they're all run by Democrats from top to bottom. Very rarely do you see a Republican governor overseeing a lot of these communities, a lot of these states. But generally, it's a Republican city council, Republican attorney general, Democratic mayor, Democratic city council, Democratic attorney general. Let me get that straight. With the one exception being New York City, which did have Republican mayors within the last 60 years, including most recently Rudy Giuliani. And I think Bloomberg actually might have been a independent. I digress. But you have cities like Baltimore, cities like Philly, cities like Flint, Michigan, that has seen Democratic control from top to bottom without any sway or any switch for the last 60 plus years. So I want to know what I'm getting my vote for. What's the policy? Just saying, we're going to wait till election has gotten us where we are right now. Prove me wrong. Like, what has changed? What has improved in a lot of these black communities that are completely run by Democrats from top to bottom? There ain't no Republicans anywhere in any sort of power in Minneapolis, in Chicago, in Oakland, in Detroit, in Flint, in Chester, in Trenton, in Philly, in Atlanta. They ain't running anything, and you can't blame the Senate or the House of Representatives or the president, because we all tend to want to focus on the national level when really this has more to do with the local. What are they doing locally? And again, I bring up the fact that congressmen like Elijah Cummings, who have been in office, or Maxine Waters, who have been in office for like 25, 30 plus years, and supposedly raked in and collected billions, millions, if not billions, over the course of their tenure in Congress. But none of that money is flowing back into the community now, is it? It's not enough to say the other party is racist without actually providing proof. Just because you say it's racist doesn't make it racist. But if anything, there's potentially more racism coming from the Democratic side of the aisle than I see from the Republicans, because I see, for instance, as an example, the racism of low expectation towards black people in this country. Somehow blacks are so uneducated, illiterate, stupid, and what's the word I'm looking for? Invalid, that they can't even produce some form of identification. Apparently getting an ID if you're black is too much of a challenge, too much of a burden. Although we somehow have no problem getting identification for vaccinations. You need ID in order to open up a bank account, apply for, go on a plane, book a hotel, or stay in a hotel, get a mortgage. A plethora of things, but somehow we're incapable of it. Joe Biden had said that blacks are somehow incapable of registering for vaccinations online and that they need help. We don't know how to use the internet apparently to make our own appointments. Speaking of Joe Biden, isn't he also the one who said in an offhand comment, I forget who he was speaking to during the campaign trail in 2020, that the reason why he was trying to focus so much on the Latino community is because unlike the blacks, which are a monolith, they have more independent and unique ideas, which go into the thought of, more on low expectations, but also racist in that apparently all black people think alike. We don't have diversity of thought, which goes into what Kwame Brown mentioned there, is that apparently you're not allowed to have a diverse opinion according to the Democrats. You're not allowed to think a little bit differently, see the world a little bit differently. They shut down any and all conversations, alternative ways of thinking, individualism. You have to be a part of the collective and group think. What do we see? 50 Cent say, I'm not agreeing with that tax plan because it actually hurts me. And what did you have but Chelsea Handler, that's her name, right? Whatever. Chelsea, an ex of his, had the nerve, as a Caucasian woman, to call out his blackness. He is not being a good black man. He's not being a good boy. He's not adhering straight down to the line like a good sheep. And she needed to correct him somehow. Like, what the heck is that about? Really? That somehow if you think differently, you're a coon. They try to shut down diversity of thought. There is no originality. And I see that. But isn't Biden also the one who said that white kids are just as capable, or poor kids are just as capable as white kids? He literally said poor kids are just as capable as white kids. The implication being that if you're not white, you must be broke, underprivileged, poor, but you don't have to worry if you're white. So there's a lot of issues there. He dropped a lot of gems, and I think we need to really start paying attention to it. Hopefully more people in the black community really start looking and peeping the game and seeing what's happening. Take his message and say, you know what? He's right. What are we getting out of our votes? Look at your community. What are you really getting honestly from these politicians? You say, let's vote them in and we'll hold them accountable this time. Well, a lot of blacks or people of color voted for Biden. What policies has he so far made a priority in the first 4 months? Well, I see he made a priority illegal immigration and reversing many of Donald Trump's illegal immigration acts and or policies. That was day one. He made sure that he signed legislation to stop anti-Asian hate crimes. He just did that the other day. He signed legislation to allow trans individuals in women's sports and increase or expand on Title IX, thus killing the competition and or equality and opportunities for biological women to really compete. But I digress. He made sure he focused on the LGBTQ community. He sent strikes to Syria. So he did all that. What has he done for the black community? He focused on war, increased war, and or missile attacks in Syria. He made sure he addressed illegal immigration to try to secure that Hispanic vote, as if illegal immigration is the major and primary issue. He focused on Asian hate crimes. He so far focused on LGBTQ. What has he done for the black community? Stop and think. I think that was a gem that more people need to listen to. It's not about Republican or Democrat, but rather, what is this government or these politicians? Are they really truly representing you, or are they trying to game you? And you really need to start getting more pull for your political power, for your vote. It can no longer just be about a fake ideal of character, because for all of the misgivings that they try to label on Republicans, again, look at these broken down communities. They don't really care about us. They just care about the vote, but not about actually making solutions to improve it. Because like you said, oh, we're fighting racism. We're doing this, we're doing that. You control all of these communities where they're talking about systematic racism, police brutality. Speaking of Minneapolis, where George Floyd's situation occurred, and Derek Chauvin, 13 members in the city council, 12 are Democrat, 1 Green Party, not a single Republican. Attorney General, Democrat. In fact, former Attorney General, what was her name? Amy Klobuchar, if I'm not mistaken, was a hopeful for president. She was actually favored for a while early in the Democratic primary. She was Attorney General at a time about maybe 10 years ago when a case was brought to her about Derek Chauvin that she just dismissed. Democratic mayor. Every level of control is Democrats. What are you really getting for that vote? I just want to know. If you disagree, tell me where's the benefit based upon actual policy and results in terms of education, proficiency in school, jobs, or increase in unemployment. Or no, let me say, we've seen increases in unemployment. We want to see increases in employment, increases in actual wages. And I'm not talking about minimum wage jobs. I'm talking about actual careers. Tell me if you think differently. If not, let me know what else you think in the comment section. I think there really needs to be a political revolution. Libertarians and Republicans, honestly, they need to do more to reach out to these communities. They're not really doing enough. Big shout out to Kim Klacik for her attempts. But she admitted that she really didn't get any support from the Republican Party base to help fund her campaign. So it was really sad not to see enough of an attempt or an outreach. That's just as bad. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Are we witnessing a revolution or a false start? All right. And please don't forget to like this video, comment on this video, whether you like or disagree, and subscribe to my channel. This is Bruce the Boss Brooks, and I'm out. Peace.